What's up, Fusion? We are so excited to have you here with us tonight. This is episode 3 of our podcast. And tonight we are carrying on with our discussion about dating relationships. Last week we had a discussion, and I think it was a meaningful discussion. We said a lot of good things. But I feel like we didn't say everything that needed to be said. So yes, therefore we will have part 2. So yeah, with me I've got Eddie, I've got Nadine, and Cloyd. You guys know Eddie. He's been on the show before. Maybe just Nadine, Cloyd, would you please introduce yourself? Let's start with you, Cloyd.
Okay, hello, my name is Cloyd, or Cloyd Jarija. I am 16 years old and I am a student at Hartbeespoort High School, and I'm also a fusion leader. I like sports and talking a lot, so.
Good.
Yeah.
We want people on the show that talk a lot.
I mean, yeah.
Nadine?
Hello, my name is Nadine Odia. I am also a student at Hartbeespoort. I'm also a member at the Fusion and a worship team.
Oh, good. Okay, so you are on the worship team. What do you do on the worship team? What is your role?
I only sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're one of the vocals.
Yes,
Okay,
I
cool.
don't do
I know that,
instruments.
but the people watching don't know that. So yeah, that's important. So, obviously, like I said last week, we spoke about relationships, and the conversation got interesting. There was a lot of things said, but I don't feel like as I said, we said a lot of things, but I don't feel personally we said what the people want to hear. I'm talking about the danger of relationships that go wrong, and the impact that can have on your life. For instance, let's say, for instance, you're in a relationship, and things happen, and you find yourself sleeping together, having sex. The danger of that. So I feel like that is a discussion. I know that it's a weird topic, especially when we talk about sex. A lot of people cringe, and they feel like, oh, it's just there's devils. We're not allowed to talk about sex at church. I feel like that is the problem, because of the fact that we're not addressing these things at the church, people don't know how to handle it. So, for me personally, last week I said on the podcast that I prefer not to date, and the reason for that is quite simple. When I was younger, or I chose not to date when I was younger, and the reason for that is because I didn't feel like I've got the capabilities. So, I believe that when we talk about healthy relationships, or when the Bible talks about healthy relationships, it talks about marriage. So that is the idea. Obviously, there is a phase before marriage that you need to go through. We call it dating nowadays. But the problem for me is, so we want to find ourselves, especially as younger people between the age of 14 to, let's say, 20, we want to find ourselves in relationships such as this. I actually see people, 14-year-olds, the boy is opening the door for his girlfriend. That's cool. I like that. Amazing. Yes, he's a gentleman. But then he gets into the car, and then it's like, yes, thank you, love. I love you. And I'm like, you don't even know what love means. Actually, I was driving with one of the teenagers the other day, and we asked him, how long are you guys in a relationship? And he's like, soos 'n vas of tydelik. Soos, okay, no, combined. And no, 3 years. I'm like, what does that mean? If you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship. And to me, that's the reason why I chose not to date, because I feel like when we talk about healthy relationships, we want to fit ourselves into a marriage, but we're only 14 years old. So we can't reach the expectation of that. And I feel like that's something that we need to talk about. So let's ask the question. We asked the question last week, but what is your views on especially what I just said? What is your views on, is it okay? And if you say it's okay, why would you say that?
Okay, so first of all, I do not completely agree with the not dating at my age, or teenagers at this young age, because for one, there's dating, yes, and then I feel my opinions of dating is the end of dating, of your goal
Yes, the end goal.
Yes, your end goal should be marriage, ne? But then you should also think of there's this thing called courtship, ne? Where I get to know Sunny and yeah, I'm sick, sorry. Sunny, yeah, oh sorry, Sunny, um, and where you it's just first get to know the person and then you can start dating and then afterwards it's marriage. I don't think that in general people my age are ready for dating because during dating there's especially to dating, like we all have this image of, oh no, I have to tell him I love him and I have to do this for him and I have to give him presents and I have to like show my love physically and things like that. But then dating is not all that. I mean, like nowadays you can have, or not nowadays, but I think dating should be more of a friendship kind of thing. And then like I can come to you like you're my best friend, but then it's also like that romantic kind of thing. So yeah, I forgot what else I wanted to say. Yeah.
Would you say rather than the idea of dating has become, because when I look at the idea of dating, we are more influenced by Hollywood than any other thing.
Yes, definitely.
So now our idea of dating is, I love rom-coms. If you didn't know, now you know. I'm a soft guy. So when it comes to movies, you see all this, then they break up, and then the guy like nowadays it's so predictable. I even know when the breakup is coming before it even, like, they have signs that they're gonna break up, and you look at these things and then you start asking yourself, what is, because they're never really friends. If you look at the movies, they're never really friends. Love at first sight. You have all these ideas, and all of them, for me, as a sort of like a common line in them. You know what? Whatever we do, sometimes we might not be emotionally attached, but which is also a lie, because if you do something, if you have sex with somebody, you're gonna be emotionally attached. It's an intimate thing. Yes, you are as closest as you can be to a human being. Think about somebody being in your face, like right here. I'll punch you straight into heaven, one way, like. And then, I mean, so you look at these ideas, and then now in the midst of all this, you have so much internet. You have so much you can get from the internet. Now your ideas are being backed up. It's almost like having a theory on top of a theory. It's not proven, but it's just theory. And everybody's saying, oh, this should be. And then you have dating coaches. With all these things comes down to one thing. Do what makes you happy, which is not the idea of marriage nor dating, because when you say you love somebody, you do everything in your power to give to the person, not instead of getting. So yeah.
I just think that all the teenagers or that is dating, it is really easy to tell someone you love them, but I don't think you can love someone if you don't understand the meaning of it. You cannot tell someone you love them, but you act different towards them. And I think because love is a really strong word, and like Eddie said, that love means to give something to someone you'd rather have, but you give it to them. And I think it's really easy to tell someone, oh, I love you, but you don't have that feeling, and it isn't a feeling. It isn't just a feeling. It is something that God gave us, and I think that when you tell someone you love them, they feel very special. But if you don't mean it, don't say it, because it's a big word.
In high school, the only book I ever finished, here comes the secrets, Dorian Gray. It was by force. Miss Lemlin forced me to read it. It wasn't by choice. I could have read like 10. It was interesting, but you look at how his life goes on and how everything he did was to his benefit. And in somehow I see the same traits in our generation. I want to be happy. I gotta do what benefits me. If it doesn't, that's where the question is when you say, "Hey, Janlu, can you please take me to Brett's? What is it? What is in it for me?" ask that question. Now it's like, I'm gonna do this. What are you gonna do for me in return? And the second thing for me, I think, is the idea of saying that I'm not happy by myself, so I gotta find somebody who's gonna make me happy. I'm gonna find somebody who will say, I love you. So because I love you, this idea of saying that, oh, you complete me. I'm like, you were complete before you had that person. So you were, but you just don't realize it, because that's what Christ came for. He came to restore us in our image. And I think the more we realize that by myself I'm more complete, because now it becomes a whole, and a whole then makes another whole. It's not half and half. So if you did maths, you understand. That was for the mathematical.
And sorry, before I forget, because human Dory.
All over.
Yeah.
Human dom.
I forget very easily. It's like I was. Eddie mentioned something just now, and I'm like, okay, remember,
you need to
Lloyd,
remember that, and then you forget it.
and then I forgot, and I'm like, oh
There was
damn.
three things already that I wanted to say, and I forgot.
Sien nou vergeet ek.
Okay, I'll say what I wanted to say, and maybe then you come to that. But
Okay, gaan nou.
so I love what you guys are saying, because the problem is we wanna what is expected of us. I'd say probably the biggest responsibility that we have in a relationship is to love the other person, because love is doing everything that you do to the advantage of the other person. So at the age of 14, we don't even love ourselves. How can we love other people? Get me? Because did you didn't the pro what I want to come to is at the age of 14 you don't know your identity, because our identity is given to us through Christ. It's fixed to what happened on the cross. That gives us love, okay? When we understand that we are loved by Him, the one who created us, who approved us, who chose us. Only when that happens, we can approve ourselves, and then we can start approving other people. You get what I'm saying? The problem is most of us don't have this relationship yet at the age of 14. Therefore, we struggle to have these relationships. And I want to get to the type of love that we are talking about in relationships. Is not a friendship love. So that's what I'm saying. I agree with what you're saying. Be friends then. Because you are more than capable to be someone else's friend. I want to ask this question. What is the most important thing? To God, what is the most important thing? For you being in one relationship, dating relationship at the age of, let's say 14, 15, 16, or having healthy friendships. Because what I've seen, especially among teenagers, is, and this happened to me before, my friends start dating, and they choose their girlfriends above me as their friend. And when they break up, they want to run back to me as their friend, and oh yeah, yes my chum, and I love you, and wara wara. But you just chose that girl. To God, what is more important? You being in that one dating relationship, or having healthy friendships? Let's ask that question.
Okay, sorry. I remembered. Okay, and I'm in here. Yes, finding Dory. Yeah, finding Dory. Okay, anyway. So, I think with this, or with these kind of things, we can't generalize. Because, there was a time where I used to compare two types of friendship. Like I used to have a friend, let's say friend A and friend B, and I was like, oh, but with friend B we don't talk as much as with friend A, or we don't have the same kind of relationship. Even though I might be closer with friend B, who I don't feel like, oh, we're not really that close. But I definitely think we cannot compare or generalize with these kind of things. Because with me, my best friends, they're dating, né? So it works for some people. For me, it worked because like we literally just the three musketeers, and we get along very, very well, né? And
For me,
I am so sorry. I think so.
for,
Let me get
for
my
me,
phone.
here's the thing. Let's rewind a little bit. You said that at 14, not all of us at 14 we are clueless about life, or we are clueless about. So now it brings the environment you grew up in. That plays a big part. Most people we grew up in environment. Not let me say some of us actually do grow up in an environment where our identity is established in us. If I look at you, at Nadine, she's 16 or so.
17.
One number, man. Lucky fish. I think your brother is also 14.
Yeah.
There you go. He
No.
not imagine him date.
Please. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
But here's the thing. He's quite aware of his identity. If I may say, so there is both spectrums. There's one who doesn't. There's one who does. And even if you look at both, the one who doesn't have a relationship with God might actually have a better idea of what dating is than the one who has a relationship with God. So there's many elements to this. You can't just pick one element or a couple of elements or aspects and you say, okay, so if 1, 2, 3 is in place, you qualify to date. Because I've seen people that have dated throughout high school, didn't know God, then knew God afterwards, and then things worked out continuously. So there is so many aspects that you need to look at. So for me, my last relationship. So here's what happens. Life happened. She had to move away. I don't have the money for a plane to go to Europe. I don't have the money for taxi, let alone for a plane ticket. So now that happens. It wasn't like, oh man, we are breaking up. It was like, you know what? Destiny did us wrong. Life happens. Life continues. So there's always aspects to whatever. But for me, the most important thing is, why are you dating?
I
The
think
motive behind why you're doing something.
I think the reason for people at the age of 14 to 17 isn't supposed to date, because I'm just going to say it straightforward, but commitment isn't there. Like, if you
Okay.
cannot commit to the partner you like, then you at the end you're going to break their trust, because loyalty isn't there then. And what you said about people that didn't know God and they went throughout relationships throughout the high school years, I think that if you don't know God, I don't think you can date. If you don't feel the love of God, I don't think you can love a
I feel like
person.
you said now that not everyone is clueless at the age of 14. I agree with that. But who of you are now where you wanted to be when you were 14 years old? Okay. Okay. So it's 1 in a million. What I want to say with that is, you said now that you had friends or you knew friends and they were dating at school, they didn't know God, didn't have any relation. That is, to me, that is lucky. because our relationship with God becomes our reference of relationship. That is how it's supposed to be. When Jesus, or when Paul is writing in the book of Ephesians and he's writing about marriage, he says, husbands, your relationship with your wife needs to resemble the relationship that Jesus had with his church. What did Jesus do for his church? He laid down his life for his church. How can you at the age of 14, so you date, we say, what is the reason for dating? To get married. How can you at the age of 14 lay down your life for the person you're dating? You can't. You haven't got the capability to do so. That is my that is my opinion. That's what I feel. Thank you, Nadel. That's what I feel. And I don't know why, but it's going to take a lot to prove me wrong.
Okay. So,
Let me go.
no, before I forget.
Ladies first.
Okay, so I'll make it quick, I promise. Okay, so one of the points that I wrote down, someone said that you cannot date without knowing God or something like that. No, I think I think that sometimes, like, I have many friends who aren't Christians, or not Christians, but like who don't believe in God. Nah. And for me, it's not, but just like also people from other cultures. Yeah. And I think that God sometimes uses people, not sometimes, but like everywhere, uses people to uses other people or me, Cinema, to show other people how Christ has worked in my life. Né? So in a relationship, it or not even a relationship, but it starts with a friendship. Eh? If I Cinema just live my life going on, and then this person's like, wow, geez, like what is different about this person? You understand? And then later on, like, they will learn, or they will see in your life the fruits of what you yeah, but yeah, they'll just see like how yes, your harvest, and how people, or how the Lord has worked in your life. Yeah.
As friends, but not. You don't want that to happen in a relationship.
It's not
You don't want to lead someone into a relationship with God while you are in a relationship with that person. As friends, that's cool. But you don't want to do that as, or is that what you're saying or not?
as friends, it's cool, né? But then there's this other thing. There's this other thing that I saw. sorry. I just wanted to read it to you. It was very cool. Like, it was empowering. I was like, what? I even sent it to Devil, and then. Oh, sorry. So, it says people change when they're hurt enough to have you. Okay, sorry. Okay, people change when they hurt enough to have to change, and people change willingly when they know enough that they are empowered to change. But people change permanently when they are loved into change. So I don't think I can go into a relationship and be like, okay, Eddie, I'm gonna change you now. I'm gonna make you a whole different person. Like, but I think through your life, people will see the things that has happened in your life, and then they would, or their opinions and behaviors and values would change.
Here's my last word, because we are running out of time. For me, I think we underestimate the power of environment. I think that's way more powerful than any words we can say, than anything else we can do. Monkey see, monkey do is one way. So for me, why I keep saying that these things, and it takes me to, we do not want to be in a situation where we use this verse, I always say, but it always works in our advantage. In Romans, it says that all things will work out good for those that loves the Lord, right? I might go through this pain, which was unnecessary for me to go through, but even though that happens, I'm going to be still come out at the other side, and I'm going to be okay, because I know God is still going to work with me. God is still going to be with me. With that being said, with the environment that we live in, or the environment we grow up in, they can, because the environment we grow up in molds us. The environment we grow up in builds our habits, our character. So I might be able in a place, because I have seen it. We have kids that grew up in a church family, but themselves don't really believe. Themselves really don't read the Bible. But their relationship of their parents, what they see, the love they see, actually they believe in that, because it's something tangible to them. They can see how their father, he would drop a rugby game against the Lions to go fetch like a sauce that is like, in his mind, is a dumb sauce at Pick n Pay, even though he's but he'll still go to do that. Why? Because he's sacrificing. The same thing, doing that, that's him laying his life for his wife. So I think in many ways, an example that is set is way more powerful than an example that is told to do.
Nadine, you want to say something before we end?
Yeah. I just want to say, a relationship, the ending of a relationship has its pros and cons. Like, the consequences of it is trust issues, like definitely, and your self-esteem is like there.
Mm.
But the pros is that you come out stronger after it. So yeah.
So, yeah, Chloe, but then we need to.
One last. I'll be done. I'll be quick nutshell. So I think, damn it, Nia.
Can't be. Come on.
Nia,
We give you one last chance.
Okay. Yes, with the whole environment a point that Eddie made, I think also like we all grow up or in this generation, you get this, I'm sure most of you know of cancel culture and how people like when one person does something wrong, it's like, oh, okay, Nia. This is nie reg nie. But like I think we're also so used to, oh, this person doesn't treat me right, and then I'm just gonna leave him. And I think with dating, each time you date, or not even date, but like friendships as well. Like I feel like I give a little piece of myself to Nadine, and I give a little piece of myself to Eddie, and I give a little piece of myself to Jean-Luc, and I just think that people always want the easy way out, and not just think of okay, because there will always be problems in a relationship. It's not always honeymoon phase like as well. Like I mean, if you look at marriages, some marriages like they're just going on strong there, but then some as well, they're not dead, but like they still love each other. They still love each other. But I just think nowadays it's also so easy for someone to just give up and just gooi die hoed op, as hulle dit regte. Yeah, as soon as things go south, instead of working through it. So
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, once again, I think it was a heated discussion. What we can say is that God makes everything work together for good, for the benefit of those who love Him. I think that's important. So, yeah, what I just want to say is that as we end, we need to understand that the type of love that we talk about that is required in a marriage, in a intimate relationship between man and wife, it's the agape love, which is sacrificial love. That is godly love. The reference is God. If you don't know that, you can't show that. Then it becomes phileo, which is a friendship type of love. And then, like you said, yes, you will come to a place where you are able to sacrifice for people, because that is part of your identity, because that is what Christ, you just need to realize that. So to me, dating is all about identity. If you know yourself and you are completed in Christ, don't go into a dating relationship, go into a relationship. When you are serious about this girl, you guys are dating and you're serious about this girl, don't take your time, get married to this person, because people play around. That's the problem with dating. And you can't do that when you're 14. You can't be in a relationship for 2 years, then you're 16, you get married. Society doesn't allow us to do that. So, yeah, I think just as we end, it was a good discussion. So please follow us on Instagram, Harties_ or Fusion_Harties. Also YouTube, like and subscribe our page. And then we will see you again next time, same place. We can't wait. We are starting with a new series. And we can't wait to share it with you guys. Cheers.